There's a mournful part of me that wishes I was able to do as the lead explorer in Outer Wilds does and go back in time to experience this all over again. This game's endearing tale of an inquisitive space adventurer setting out to learn more about their home star system, but stumbling across way more than they bargained for, is unfortunately a tale that only leaves its biggest impact when discovering it for the very first time. But during a player's time with the game, its many elements of core design, the building of its atmosphere, and the narratives that it has in place have the potential to evoke the rawest of emotions and thoughts about existentialism, inevitability, and progress. Before delving any further into this video, I'm going to give the Cliff Notes version of my verdict on Outer Wilds right now. It's among the most thought-provoking and captivating experiences I've had with a style of game that typically isn't in my usual rotation, and it's something that needs to be seen firsthand before you go off seeking to go into conversations about it. Talking about it properly kind of necessitates that I talk about the game as a whole, story content included, and as such, spoilers will be plentiful from here on out. Play the game and the DLC to its conclusion first if you haven't already before you carry on with this video. This has been your warning. Okay, now you've gone and done the game, I can begin. After a comfortable sleep next to a warming campfire on a beautiful forest planet, the newest Hearthian to join the colony's space exploration team gathers the necessary information and does their revision on current research progress before they themselves make their maiden voyage. There's a soothing sense of non-urgency to this as you start out in the place that your explorer calls home. You can see most everything that could be waiting for you out in the vacuous space past your planet's atmosphere through the museum exhibits, and the tones of the guitar-like music elicit the notion that this home is truly where the heart is. Or should I say, where the hearth is, huh? Huh? Unbeknownst at this point, however, radical things will be set in motion once you return to an ancient statue carved by a species called the Nomai, who predate the Hearthian race by many millennia. It turns to you and seems to replay all of your past visions while a harsher synth sound breaks the awkward silence of before. And just as soon as it started, it's quickly over, and only you seem to be aware it even happened. What does that mean for you? Even the return of the calming, homely theme of Timber Hearth seems to hit slightly differently, as now you aren't quite sure how your encounter with the statue's powers will shape your journey. Going out into the stars feels a bit more isolating than it might have felt before, because you don't know if you're the only one who has had such an incident happen to them. Nevertheless, the true adventure is out there among the other planets in the solar system. Your first trip can be a small hop to the satellite moon to get your bearings, or it can be a giant leap over to the larger astral bodies you can see far in the distance. Wherever you go, discoveries are there to be made, whether they pertain to how the features of each planet behave over time, or to the several dilapidated constructs you can find on each planetary body. To many first-time players, this point may not be immediately apparent to them, but it is something that I found to be an incredibly effective feature of the game to do with found narratives. The story of this star system has, for the most part, already happened, and the player can go out there and find it. It doesn't feel right to call it an objective or a challenge, but for want of a better word, so that's what you do, right up until another key fact is revealed through the passage of time. The system's star has gradually been fusing heavier and heavier elements together in its dying moments until it eventually collapses and goes supernova. And as your body is consumed by the explosion, a strange set of images are replayed to you, the memories of your trip. And then, you awake, back under the same stars and next to the same campfire as if all you just saw has not come to pass yet. But your memories and knowledge of your previous trips are left intact, proved by your ship's map and information log. That is the core loop, and now that the player becomes aware of their revivals, they realize that the whole of their observable world with all of its secrets is primed to be explored. Every event that happens within the solar system is preordained to occur in exactly the same way at exactly the same moments, allowing for an indeterminate time frame for the player to find new discoveries, dissect them, interpret the meanings behind them, and link them to other discoveries. Like I said earlier, the story has already happened. The player needs only to uncover it, rather than come up with it. I personally find that interactive media with a focus on found narrative, and that with a focus on emergent narrative, both have strengths and can coexist with each other, but maybe the task of coming up with the story as well as progressing through it can be a daunting undertaking. My target for comparison would be like beginning a new world of Minecraft, and how it can feel completely overwhelming with absolutely zero prior knowledge. Personally, I think you need to know things about the game before you even open up the software for the first time. Conversely, Outer Wilds begins with everything you will ever discover and learn about within Access from the very instant you get control. It's a cyclic journey of visiting the different planetary bodies, picking up fresh insights from the things you see and the creatures and allies you meet, and piecing them together to form your understanding of the events that preceded you. It's far less work to come up with your own story than to discover one that's already planned, but it is no less rewarding to see your discoveries add up through your ability to process them. So many of the game's greatest moments derive directly from the aha moment, the instant you recognize how your discoveries connect and build more of the picture for you. It's especially potent in this game as the logic, construction, and progression of the world employs some truly remarkable feats of design with solutions that can leave players breathless upon completing them. The moments where things clicked made me appreciate the efforts that went into crafting the narrative for me to find. Displaying coordinates to the eye of the universe. I can't make heads or tails of this. No, I can. I go back to the vessel and put in and that's another reason why I think I'm liking this game more than other explorations. It's just the moment it clicks. It's either fully finding the solution or a massive piece of what you need, and it's just sort of, wait, I figured out what that's for. I know now. Something that loomed over me for the entirety of my run, however, was an anticipation of experiencing an event that my head wouldn't be able to process, or even wish to know about, as its truths simply frightened me. As it turned out, every single explorable location facilitates a level of danger, be it clear and present from your first venture in, or be it intangible and atmospheric, possibly waiting to strike behind the inevitability of time. Things in this system are mostly liable to the proper universal laws of physics, and so are understandable very easily, but the few instances where things seemingly don't follow the rules instill a sense of dread. The disappearances of the quantum moon or its shards, the deafening silence of the disorientating thorny maze of dark bramble hiding away very real monstrous dangers, wormholes under brittle terrain, being bombarded by lava bombs, being thrust into the deadly vacuum of space by rampant cyclones, pockets of toxic colourless gas capable of killing in an instant. The barriers that exist to challenge you along your trail of breadcrumbs harbour different meanings for everyone based on their own backgrounds or life stories, and their paths could be subject to immediate change in order to chase a lead that is as of yet unexplored and could yield more progress. But the fact of the matter is that those dangers will always be present and will have to be encountered once again when a separate trail goes cold. They always loom over you. Even the very progression of time itself can be seen in a similar light, as you do not know of anything within your power that you can do to halt the death of your system's star and buy yourself more time. The stories you find and the remnants of the devastations you discover also depict a macabre picture of the tribulations that the other alien races went through on their voyages and experiments, their downfalls and failures again unknown or beyond their control. Often at times, the long periods that can occur between happening upon the seemingly barely tangible morsels of progress can cause all manner of anxious responses. Until a new piece of information is worked out, it can leave the player with nothing but the very basic of questions that can't be met with basic answers. The whats, the hows, the whys. They can build up over time, and they can overwhelm you. So it is important to remember that once again, home is where the hearth is. Your very first experience of the world around you as you prepare for your inaugural spaceflight is poetically designed to be of great comfort. Learning about your equipment and your surroundings with other beings as if they were merely exercises or games, done to the soothing, almost transcendent banjo score, helps you to understand that your journey will always start from somewhere you can readily call home even before you leave your sleeping bag. Upon leaving the launch platform and exiting the atmosphere, another familiar tune will always accompany you as you plan your next voyage's destination, with a slightly heightened sense of trepidation highlighted by more airy synthesized tones and reverb processing applied to the instruments. You are also able to latch onto a sense of homeliness even if a misadventure leaves you stranded or in need of replenishing your resources, as the other members of your species' exploration team can be found and heard with camps set up throughout the system. They play their respective instruments as if to constantly call back to their fellow Hearthians, and offer them a place at the fire to roast a sweet marshmallow and divulge the latest revelations found among the other planets. Their beacons are ever present throughout all the loops you will ever go through, and are a safe logical bet for a player unsure of their next move. And contrary to everything, the piece that plays to signify the impending explosion of the star also serves as a juxtapositionally warming and homely gesture. While it does unfortunately signal the inevitability of your time running out even in the midst of your latest exploration, its resolute sounds can be interpreted as a message of certainty that you will be returning to a state of calm. The things you wanted to see more of will not ever disappear. All will be in the ways they were as you began your adventure. It's just another chapter in your ventures, starting with a blank slate. You will happen among things in your system that will instill doubts and fear as you seek the unknown, but the readily available and always accessible familiarity of your homeland and your friends serves as the yin to the yang in this universe. And truly, this universe is a masterclass in world building. The common knowledge about this game is that it was initiated during the lead developer's thesis studies at college some 9 or 10 years ago, and rather than using the time loop mechanics to play around with causality, it's instead used to accommodate the giant dynamic changes that occur in each astral body, from the shifting sands between the hourglass twins, the gradual erosion of Brittle Hollow's surface, and the expansion of the sun as it fuses heavier elements and consumes the nearby sun station. Every place you can explore feels supremely distinct from each other with unique aspects to tackle, yet they also have features that so cleverly intertwine with each other to accelerate the player's progress of discovery on each different body, creating a cohesive environment all the same. And the tales of each of the alien races that have inhabited this star system were an absolute joy to uncover. The humble Hearthians represent the innocent nature of being inquisitive and wanting to know more about your place in the universe, their rustic tin can and wood constructions representing the beginnings of potential progress. Major shoutouts to their use of genderless pronouns too. It's such a sweet touch that often goes unnoticed. In stark contrast, the Nomai race are a group thriving on innovation for the sake of innovation. A new thing is discovered by them and they immediately seek to understand it or control it, utilizing far more advanced technology in order to accomplish feats of unimaginable scientific discovery. Their elation at success is complemented by their abject sorrow at failure and a constant need to find new things to understand, as if it's the only thing that gives them purpose. And when it came to the echoes of the IDLC, the elk-owl-like inhabitants of the Stranger seem to be greatly inspired by a kaleidoscopic mix of native community cultures like the American Indians and Aborigines of Australia. Their aura of spirituality is connotated by their own primitive architectures, their desire to connect with perceived divine powers when they discover the Eye, and their almost paganistic rejection of those beliefs, and their decision to seclude themselves and their secrets for eternity when the realities of both what they found and what they sacrificed to find here were too hard to bear. This is more apparent as the player explores the Stranger and attempts to encroach on the inhabitants' realms to find more information, and it seems to be born out of a desire by the Elk Owls to vehemently protect the rest of the universe from unearthing what they saw, a desire that was born out of fear, and the way they protect it is also with fear. Okay. Oh, Hi! I do not mean to intrude on you, but... Oh, there's another one there. Ah! Hi! Don't jump me now. This would be a bad time to jump me now. There are many characters you see within the story that handle the notions of failure and the ending of things with profound fear and sadness. But it is a huge theme of the tale of this universe, and one that the player has to overcome once they have completed their journeys of gathering knowledge. When the time comes that the player realizes that they will embark on their final voyage to retrieve the Astwing Project's warp core, deactivate the entire time loop, and reach the location of the Eye, it is the ultimate sacrifice and abandonment of the things they had had grown accustomed to. It's an undeniably scary venture. For some players, it has even drawn parallels to their own real-life experiences. You travel to areas that reflect massive uncertainty as represented by the abundance of quantum anomalies coming and going. You see images of entire galaxies fade into the darkness that may be evocative of hopes you hold on to being extinguished, and eventually you find just yourself. A lone figure with nowhere to go next. But what follows from then is a poignant conclusion with a very important message to share. All of the bonds we make out in the big wide world, all of the uncertainties we have to figure out, all the fears we face, all of the great sacrifices we sometimes must make, they are all in the pursuit of creating a future that is to be cherished rather than feared. If not for us, then for all of those who will follow on from us. Realizing that our smallest of actions could lead to a change for good in the future is also something that the characters realize, and they also realize that nothing will ever change or progress further if those brave steps are never taken to begin with. But so long as you carry your memories with you and forge connections with good intentions, we can all say that we can face what the future brings together. I can't ever say for certain if it was the maker's intention, but it really feels like Outer Wilds was made as a one-time experience only. No subsequent runs will feel like they can ever get close to matching the huge swings of emotions and waves of revelations that hit the player in their first run. Obviously, a factor to that is that the player will know exactly what to do in order to reach the conclusion within the first few seconds. All you can really do on subsequent sessions of the game is just figure out the many ways that you can do sequence breaking, or finding ways to reach alternative ending moments. And after a finished run, the best and seemingly only way to rekindle that spark is being an observer to another new player, vicariously taking in what they're seeing. But in my view, the sacrifice feels worth it. The things you see throughout the numerous loops you experience have lasting impacts, and they resonate with so many different player backgrounds. The face value of the game is worth its admission price alone for players who just see completion as the gratification, but by stopping every once in a while to smell the pine trees and process events as they unfold, this narrative has the uncanny ability to speak to many different people and represent different and far deeper meanings for them. This game is super important to the wider gaming medium as a whole, in my opinion. A captivating tale of exploration with greater things to teach us about how a brave, giant leap can stem from but one small step. A big supermassive hello to you all. Thank you very much for watching this review video. Be sure to leave your likes and comments down below, and if you want to see more, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon. If you want to catch my Twitch live streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, as well as see the stream highlights, go to twitch.tv/LauraPetal to find out more, and make sure to follow my other socials on Twitter, Facebook, Discord and Instagram. Thanks again for watching, stay you and stay awesome, and I'll see you all later on.